This conference will now be recorded.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the minutes from March 6th. Does anybody have any issues with those? Look to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Minutes approved. And the agenda, any changes?
No changes.
Move to approve. Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, approved. Any conflicts of interest? All right, so we'll go right into a public hearing. Our format for a public hearing is that we'll hear from the applicant, and then we will open it up for public comment. When you speak, please stand up, state your name and your address for the minutes. And we ask that you do that every time you stand up and speak because it's recorded. It just makes the minutes a lot easier for us. And then we'll go back and forth until there's no more input from the public, and then at that time we'll close the public hearing, and then we'll have discussion amongst ourselves, at which time we ask you to refrain from that unless we ask you a question. So that's how we'll do that. And this one is for CUP 497. Amber?
Yep, CUP 497 is for Chad Anderson, and they're here, or Chad's here. This is for Lot 2 of the Anderson subdivision of HES 170, and this is located off of Nemo Road and Highway 385, kind of that general vicinity. This is for a sanitation business and outdoor storage. The map was all provided for you. The background was provided for you. There's also considerations in there for a conditional use permit. We're going to try to put those in there. And then there's some conditions. We tried to just use, our normal conditions that we normally have. And then we also looked back at the previous M&M sanitation conditions, which is very close to where this property was located. So we tried to go with something that's already been out there before. So that's what it was. And then I think really at this one, it would be a Board of Adjustment decision at County Commission. So you guys are just making a recommendation on this for your side of it, if you want to approve it or not approve it. I don't know if you have any other questions for me, or like I said, Chad's here if you have any questions for him. But the maps and stuff were all in the packet.
I'm Chad Anderson, 21554 Gulfport Lane, Deadwood. Yeah, I'm just wanting to run a portable toilet and septic pumping business out of my residence.
Yep. Anything else? Okay. Any other comments? Questions? Okay. Chad, do you have any other things you want to say?
I don't, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll close the public hearing. Discussion here. We went through it pretty well last month in the informational meeting.
It'll be third time. Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried.
Okay, so you have the packet for him.
It's on the front. I gave it to him.
Oh, you already got it. Okay, you're ahead of me then. So this will just go to County Commission then on Tuesday, April 20th. Sorry, Board of Adjustment on Tuesday, April 22nd at 9 a.m. And then you'll just send out the notices and stuff just like you did already. So that is all we have. Thank you.
Okay, public hearing for change of zoning 366. Is there anybody new in the room that didn't hear the instructions for the public hearing?
Got the cord.
Okay. We'll go ahead and hear from Amber first.
A second here.
They are here too.
Is this the right one? Changes zoning 366. So public hearing for Spree Creek LLC, Frank and Jason Ward. Jason is online, I know. And this one, they are trying to do a change of zoning from A1 to A2, directly adjacent to the city of Spearfish, right along the road, doing an overall. This will be in the platting jurisdiction of the city of Spearfish. So the overall platting will go to them, but this is just the basic, just the change of zoning only, nothing else. He did provide a full packet to you with the buffer mat and the exhibit. Again, the considerations are in there. Trying to think. There's really nothing else. We'll pull up the packet here. There is kind of he did give you kind of an overview of what they're looking at. There's a written summary in here. And then general location.
Jason, can you hear us?
I can. You bet, Travis.
Yep.
There you go.
Do you have any comments?
Nothing to add besides the packet. We might split that lower lot, that's 16 acres, and make those 2/8, but other than that, nothing would change.
Okay. Okay, we'll open it up to the public. Does anybody have any comments or concerns?
Jim Lucas at 1015 Johnson Lane. And I don't know if this is the appropriate time to bring it up, but there's an issue with the road, Johnson Lane. As you come off 85, there's a steep hill there. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that. And it's a little bit, there's an obstructed view. So I wonder if you're going to address the road issue to make it more safer when there's more residents living there in that area. It's very obstructed. You can't see anything until you get to the top of the crest, and then there's a driveway that goes to the big truck garage right at the top at the very crest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all kind of jumbled up there, but it seems like a safety hazard to me.
Sure.
That's my concern.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Anyone else?
Howdy, Steve and Joe Wesley, and we're, excuse me, I have to look at the map. Sure. And,
Can you state your address, sir, please?
Oh, 1025 Johnson Lane.
Thank you.
And, yeah, Jason, you know me. And, so then your access to these new lots, that must be right there.
Yep, you can kind of, if you can see where my cursor is up there, that'll be the access.
On Gringle Place there.
Johnson Lane.
Yeah, Johnson.
Yeah, and then it goes in.
And then it'll come down. It'll come down. And then this will be a dedicated road going this way.
Yeah, we're further east or west from Bringle Road.
Okay, so you're west, so then you'll be coming in right there, just east of Dave's truck shop then.
About halfway between Dave's and Bringle Road, yes.
Yeah, about where that fence or where the high line's at probably, huh?
Yeah, and about where, no, it'll be further. It'll be a little bit further east than that. It's kind of right where I put the sign.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yep.
Yeah, and other than in the hill right there at the truck shop there, that's pretty tough to see, like Jim said, Jim Lucas. And what kind of covenants are you gonna have on that? You know, for
We
building on?
really haven't got that far yet. We envision a nice home. I mean, they're a nice home with an outbuilding if they prefer, and I guess, yeah, we haven't really written specific covenants.
Yep.
So what are you thinking, like 500,000-600,000 or $1,500,000? You know, what?
That's pretty tough to say. I mean, the lots, they're an expensive lot. I think if somebody buys a lot like that, they'll probably want to put a nice home on it and then, maintain it pretty nice.
Because, well, yeah, you've done enough construction building out there on the reserve there to where you've got a pretty good idea what a home costs. And so you're hoping for probably like what, 8.5 to upwards on value of homes.
Well, I would say that. I mean, yeah.
That's what you want.
Well, yeah. I mean, we want it to be nice. I mean, we wanted a nice place to live. I think there's a niche for the people who work at the hospital or work someplace where they have to be close to town and want a nice property, nice some space and a place to maybe build an outbuilding. So that's just
Yeah.
a shed. And I guess covenants we'd try to kind of match if they did an outbuilding, if we were to write covenants, match the house and the outbuilding together, so they we're not
Yeah, right
one
now we're
together.
I don't know how
change the
to.
zoning. So,
Okay, so,
Yeah.
so we need to be back to the next meeting then.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, well,
Actually, there won't
City, probably city.
It'll be
the city
plotted.
of Spearfish will have to approve any of like the plating, the layout of the roads, any of that, because you're in their plating jurisdiction right there.
Oh,
So the county won't actually look at it. All we're looking at is just the change of zoning.
Okay.
Is it an appropriate location for that density?
Yeah.
And then the detail of like your covenants, your how the road's going to look, what the width of it's going to be, the lot sizes, all of that will actually go through the city of Spearfish.
Okay.
Yep.
How many
So-
dogs and kids they can have.
All of that fun stuff. Yes.
All right. Okay. I guess that's probably the end of my question.
Okay.
Y'all have some questions.
Okay.
I did have one.
Can you-
Jill Lesselham, 1025 Johnson Lane, Spearfish.
Thank you.
So would you please elaborate a little bit on what the current zoning is there now and what exactly the change will be? And then is this property actually within the city limits of Spearfish then?
Nope, it's not. So it's currently zoned ag, which is one residence per 40 acres. It's directly adjacent to the city of Spearfish. So if you look at this line, the gray is the city of Spearfish. This is directly adjacent to it. He is trying to go to an A2 district, which is still a residential ag district. And that is 8 residences per 40 acres. Sorry, 4 residences per 40 acres. So it's 4 per 40. And then it is in the corridor plan for the city of Spearfish and the county that we have a joint corridor plan along that corridor that within 600-ish, 660 feet, I think is what it is from city limits, is where we want to see that buffer area of, you have your commercial development, which is what's in front of him. Then you have a little more larger lot sizes, and then it would transition into your ag ground, which is your 1 per 40. So this follows the direction of that corridor plan.
So this, you said, is a 4 per 40.
4 per 40. So there's 1, 2, you can see with his proposal, when it gets to the platting phases with the city of Spearfish, would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then a 16 acre or maybe 2 more down here. So you'd probably be looking at a maximum density of about 10 lots on 111 acres, 110 acres.
Hmm.
So then with this new zoning, that's as many
That would be the
allowed
required,
on that current.
allowed density.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Well, thank
yep.
you. That,
Does that help?
that does.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Anybody else?
Just one thing to add.
Can you say your name and address, please?
Jim Lucas, 1015 Johnson Lane. So the county road is actually in Spearfish at the turnoff of 85. Is that what I see there?
Are you talking about this part right here of Johnson Lane?
Yes.
There is some of it that's inside city limits.
So who's responsible for what I think is a problem to fix that problem?
Well,
Debate about that, I think.
it'd be
Not
county
that
and
far
city
yet.
point. Yeah, we're not that far yet because he hasn't actually submitted this to the city yet
Okay.
for expansion. Because you have to have the change of zoning before he can even go forward
Well, okay.
with platting.
So when I bring this.
A lot of those questions I think so far would definitely be if and when he decides to present a plat to the city of Spearfish. That's when I think a lot of these individual questions you would want to be involved at that point.
Okay.
Yep, for sure. Because those are all questions that they're going to look at. And Rick can, wouldn't you say all things from planning commission that you would be looking at for a plat? Okay.
So I have a question. Cindy Lucas, 1015 Johnson Lane. So who's going to come in and put all the roads and the curbing? And is Jason Ward going to do that? Is he the developer?
He is the developer.
And then but individuals are gonna be digging their own septic tanks?
They can, yes. We require state law because this is not gonna have city water and city sewer.
So I noticed in your briefing and your information that you have some concerns about septic tanks.
If they
On the
decide to go
private
that route,
ground.
the engineers would have to approve that that is going to be okay to put there.
And so if.
That's what we require.
If it's gypsum and the runoff and it doesn't percolate right, then.
Then they
where
may
does
not
that-
be able to do it.
Then they can't do it.
Then they wouldn't have the ability to even build there.
Well, they might be able to, there's a lot of alternative systems available anymore,
Yeah.
so.
They have to do something that is approved by the state and the engineer.
Are they trying to get it annexed into Spearfish? at
Not
some
right
point?
now, no.
But that's a future.
Not right
No.
now, no.
This is just a change of zoning at this point.
Yeah.
It's not the planning or anything.
And then are these going to be like ranchettes with horses and stuff like that on them too, or?
That would be an allowed use in the A2 zoning district, yes.
It would be.
Yeah, but there'll be no curb and gutter. It'll be a gravel road. The plan is 24 foot in our initial discussions with the city. 24-foot gravel top.
And does that mean there wouldn't be any improvement on the road on Johnson Lane?
Again, you guys are, those questions are all questions that have to go to the city of Spearfish when they get to that point. They're not there yet.
That's right. But
Yep.
Right now it's a county road,
It is, but we don't have the platting jurisdiction on it.
but
Yep.
it's already not maintained that well. So then if you add a bunch more traffic to it, the county wouldn't they still maintain Johnson Lane?
You have two commissioners here that can answer that if they choose to. But
Well, it's.
I mean,
it would
it's-
still be a
it's
county
the way
road,
it
it's
is now.
still be the responsibility of the county.
Mhm.
Has anybody ever talked to the county road superintendent about it? Okay, that'd probably be a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go, give them a call and tell them you'd like to have them take a look at it. He's a reasonable guy. And
Your name,
Cindy Lucas, right? I wrote it down just to make sure we had it written down. Yep.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep. Yeah, the best thing is if you have a concern with the road itself is like how it's being maintained now, you would want to talk to the highway superintendent and he can look at it and decide where it's at within that.
What about that existing building with the trucks and all of the, old junk cars? You gonna put a fence or anything around that? So
that's all in the city.
Yep,
This
that's
is all
city
inside
limits.
city limits. It has nothing to do with his application.
The only way they get the attention of the city is maybe file a nuisance complaint or something like that and see where that goes.
Yeah, because that everything in this gray here that you guys are talking about right in here, this is all in, it's not in the county's jurisdiction. It is inside the city limits of Spearfish.
Yep.
Yeah, this all is right here.
It's a little confusing what the two were.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Oh, this is the road.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Any discussion?
It fits that study up through there, it fits our zoning, it fits our ordinance.
It buffers that area out to from the city to the agricultural zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I do know that Jason is aware of, they'll have to look at the septic stuff. He's already aware of that as they go into it with the Spearfish.
And we can talk more about that.
Yep.
Anything else? Any other concerns? Motions?
Did you close the public hearing?
They did.
Okay.
Just something that all parties should keep in mind, that a little correspondence between each other can alleviate a lot of thoughts and some thoughts that aren't good, and then it gives the other people some good ideas too. So communication is really important going forward with this project. You may have some concerns and they may end up not being concerns. And then you may not have some concerns that the developer will bring up that may concern you. So it's important to keep on top of things on both sides and communicate. Absolutely. And it does, you make some phone calls and you should get some action. If you don't, come back. But it always helps. That's all I have.
Because it fits the study, because it fits our ordinance, I would move to approve the change of zoning number 366.
Second. Okay, discussion. Jason, what are the red circles on the map?
Red, which page, Travis?
On the front page of our
Those-
Cover
packet.
page.
Those are the ones I selected.
Oh, those
Yeah,
parcels?
those are where I.
Yeah, those are just for
Right.
when we pull the map up.
Okay,
All right.
all right. Any other discussion?
Yeah,
All in favor,
I
say
can
aye.
read my,
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Did you have that?
Okay, motion carries.
Why he approved it?
Oh,
Did you
yeah.
put okay, just making sure. Okay, so Jason, we do have a packet here for you for county commission. So are
Okay.
you wanting us to mail that to you, or what would you like to do? You want to
Is
take
Frank-
it? Yep,
is
they're
Frank or
here. Never
Charlotte
mind.
there?
They're
Okay,
waving
very
me
good.
down.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, informational meeting for change of zoning
You want to
367.
give that to Frank and
Do you need to sign too?
nope, they already have the sign.
This is from county commission.
Yeah, it goes in front of county commission on April 22nd at 9:15.
So be back in this room in front of county commission.
Can I ask a quick question before we get started? So if this proceeds through the way it's supposed to, onto city, how will we get notices of cities living in county?
Go to the,
Your best bet is to watch their website, is the best I can tell you.
or the newspaper.
The newspaper, there's public notices in the paper for them. They also put it on their agendas right on the city website. Yep, because plating, we don't, even at the county level, we don't send notification out for plating. Just the change of zoning.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I might have to go to
That'd be
the
good.
go to meeting settings. I don't know.
Might have been Jason's settings too.
It might have been.
Yeah, I think it's ours. I tried to turn it down on the receiver. I don't know.
Yeah, I turned it down on here.
So can you go to the go to meeting settings?
I don't think there's a,
Yeah, there it is. There's make it bigger. Settings up there.
You can ask Amy to talk, see if it's if her settings are allowed to.
Speakers. Is that just gonna be
so
so?
that's just your speakers. I don't think you can go up or down because this is adjusting the mic volume.
I don't know.
The other volume will be on the computer. now.
Yeah, I already did that.
Okay. Okay. Well, we tried this.
Yeah, so I don't mind having it too loud. You can hear.
Okay.
We tried.
All right. Informational meeting.
Barry's here. He's on the end.
I just can't see him. Hi, Barry, here over there. Okay. Let's go ahead and not that one. I just gotta find the right one. There we go. All right, so Barry is here. I can't even tell you when I first started working on this one. So originally Barry had bought some property, and then at the time it was still going through the city of Spearfish for plating. And so it was hard to do a legal description on it. So this is off of McGuigan Road. And so finally got through the plating process. We have the right legal description. Now we can actually move forward with the change of zoning on this one. So they're looking at doing this is kind of near, if you know where Haymeyer Construction is, that's kind of gives you a general idea of out there off of McGuigan Road. They would like to do a commercial light industrial change of zoning. Right now, there's nothing on the lot. It's 10 acres, 10.87 acres. I was trying to find, this is just an informational today, so we don't have it fully booked out. I think it's currently, why can't I find it? Where's your current zoning? Yeah, suburban residential.
It's in that
And then it's going to commercial light industrial. I just can't see it on here.
That's the two.
There it is.
that marks.
There it is, suburban residential, and it's going to commercial light industrial is what he'd like. It's right along the highway. There's already commercial down the road for the Haymeyer property. And then it's on the upper part of the schoolhouse subdivision, or schoolhouse lots is on the back side of this. It'll kind of give you a general idea. And then ultimately wanting to break it down, here's kind of this one's the newest plat. Yep, newest plat. So they broke it down into 2 properties. And this is what he'd like to do with it, is this one he would like to be able to sell it. This one here is where he'd like to be able to put his personal shop. And with that, ultimately for industrial purposes, some sort of commercial business on there. It makes sense within our area. It's on the upper side, so you have to go down the hill. If you see any houses, it's on the back side of it. It's right along McWigan Road. We're seeing commercial development out there.
Correct.
Right across the street is the industrial, it's where the commercial industrial property already is.
Is that across from Niven's pellet mill?
Yep, right across from the sawmill. So this is our showing who they had to send it to, but it's kind of hard to see because these lots are down. Like this is sitting up on top on a plateau, and the schoolhouse lots are down below it. Yeah, if you kind of look at it that way. But this is all industrial on the other side of McWigan right here. And then this one here, there's a there's a shop there. So I think it fits the requirements of the McWigan Road for it. Ultimately, I would have recommended this to go forward last time, but we just didn't have a legal description with the way that it was sitting. So now we do, because it's been platted.
Does anybody have any concern?
Okay. Nope, can't do that. This is just an informational meeting today. Pack it, and then he should have that sign there.
I was trying to make.
We're saving for you.
So Barry, the next steps, they're in there. Just read through that packet. It has what you need to do, send out the notifications, put the sign up, do all of that stuff. And then you'll come back. What are we, May 1st? 1st, yeah. May 1st is the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day, Barry. You too.
All right, recommendation meeting.
All right, Anderson's. Okay, so this one is kind of interesting. This is the property on Kirk Road, the old substation property. You kind of know where that is, on Kirk Road, the industrial property there.
Kiewit or something was utilizing for a while.
Yeah, they had it for quite a while. They were down there. Yeah, yep.
The old power plant.
The old power plant. Yep, that's what this property is. And Chad and Heather are here. This is a recommendation meeting for a development plan. Over the years, we've seen some different things out there. And if you remember, a lot of this stuff was located off of Terry Peak Road. And they bought this property and kind of moved most of the business stuff down there in an industrial zoning district, which is a lot better than being up in a suburban residential district. And then they've had some different projects in and out of there. There was some storage buildings in there. What they would like to do is to have 40, let's see if I say this right, 40 20-foot storage containers, 2 rows of them, 20 different containers in there. It's zone general industry, and then they would be renting those out, basically, would be the best way to explain it. So just storage areas. And
DP is development plan, right?
Development plan. Yes. Development plan. Mm-hmm. And so what we decided with this, there's already a lot of stuff out there. The roads are intact. There's driveways already in and out. They don't really change much because of the way the water runs in and around there. It's mainly just utilizing the land. About for the longest time, it was I would say almost like a staging area. They just had a bunch of equipment sitting down in there. Storage stuff is what they had it for. And we had approved that, but just in light of it being zoned industrial, we thought the development plan route was the best way to go, just to show you guys what they were going to have in there now, because it is changing just a little bit. But overall, it meets the requirements of that zoning district. They have to meet setbacks, you know, all of that when they place the containers in there. We just have to make sure they're off the property. I don't even know how we'll do a building permit on those because they're just the storage containers. Yeah, we'll just make sure that they're, you know, not in the road right away or that kind of stuff. Lined up nice and neat.
Any comments from you
You don't need anything.
Yep.
Setbacks, all that stuff, sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty easy.
Right, where it's all going, we've got plenty of setback for
Yep.
free space. There's all the fenced in area that we're setting all this stuff in, so. It was the same, like he said, that Tyson and everybody was using for their storage lots and equipment and everything.
Yep. Same location, just storage units. Well, kind of storage containers.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, storage units.
Okay. Any concerns?
So with a development plan, you guys usually just make a recommendation to the county commission, and then the county commission will have to hold a public hearing at their next meeting.
We don't do a public hearing here.
You do not. Nope. Today it's just recommendation, and then you just make a recommendation to the county commissioners.
Night.
April 8th. It's Tuesday at 9:15. Same room.
Second. Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Okay. There's nothing else that you guys really have to do for it, I don't think, with this one.
I think you already picked up your sign.
Yep, you already have your sign, so. Yep, so there's nothing else you have to do, just be back in this room at 9:15 on Tuesday. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, layout for applicant Kindersty.
All right.
Everyone says it different.
Okay.
Let's find the right one. There it is. So this one is Muley Hill Lodge. We've had a conditional use permit out there for a few years. They have not had complaints. They've done everything and followed what they've needed to. They have bought adjacent properties over the years. Now they're looking at kind of subdividing it / reconfiguring existing lot lines. There's a combination going on there. This is just the layout, and there's been lots of discussion. There's some preliminary road profiles in there already, fire mitigation plan. So he's probably further along than most of the time that we see at this phase. There's some as-built already on the roads. Luckily, he was able to do the roads himself, so that helps a little bit. So you don't have to find somebody to come in and do them. And then with that, we're going to look at this one probably. So this is what he would ultimately like to do. Some of these are already existing lots down in here, breaking it up, putting in roads. I know there was one email received, and this is probably going to come up when they try to do a vacation as well, because there's a little piece of a road in here. There's a neighbor down here that is just concerned about losing access. There's an easement that runs from here and kind of comes up. That access is not going away. It's just being moved a little bit. So there is some confusion on that. And I did talk to Mike about it, and he's going to go ahead and he'll talk to that landowner a little bit and try to help explain what he's really trying to do. That even though, yes, he's vacating an older piece, it's because it sits right where this building sits. There's a public right of way that goes right in here, and there's no setback. So since he owns this now too, he's actually just wanting to change that easement so it actually goes over this way a little bit to get away from that structure. So it'll fix it in the long run, but there's going to be a little bit of confusing. They did submit a public right-of-way vacation to the auditor's office, and it's currently going through their review process for that. But he knew that it could caused some concern because the neighbor had already asked us some questions. So I did let him know, and he said he would talk to him, kind of get ahead of that. But overall, originally this property was supposed to be subdivided way back when. They bought it and they were able to keep it intact for a few years, but they are looking at, selling that property and moving on. So that's just kind of where we're at with it, kind of coming back to this. Give you a general, you got Muley Hill Lodge, you've got Schulte's. Ponderosa Dam, there you go. I couldn't remember the name. Troy Schulte's is back here. This was the old Matson Arena that it had been out there for years. That sits right here. The old Matson house was out there. All of that is all part of this, and they're just kind of reconfiguring some stuff and then adding some back in here. But road wise, everything will come, Matson Lane and into these existing areas. It kind of makes sense with what's out there. But all of the lots are being reconfigured a little bit.
12 lots. So the one lot on the west side, lower end, is that gold area included in the pin with the other lot? Or the east area, excuse me.
These are all individual. So this one, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Right.
5,
This
6,
where the
7.
where the old Manson house is, that
Right in
area
here?
keep going east.
Over here.
Over here?
Down, yeah, right there. So is that gold part going with that other? How's that?
Is it a road or what?
This down here. Can you
Yeah.
explain that one? Yeah, you have the. This hasn't been approved yet, but he did submit this. That's a little clearer on there.
But yeah, it is.
It'll all go together.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That was my question.
Yeah.
That's
The,
all one lot, right?
Yes.
Yep. The yellow that you see is the roadway.
Okay.
But yeah, that plat, we haven't actually seen it yet, so that's why you guys don't have it. But it gives you a better idea. But this is just layout today. Do you have any concerns? So the concerns we've talked about is the easement. He knows he has to fix that public right of way to do the vacation, and he's already started that process with the auditor's office. Water and do you want to maybe explain that a little bit, just because you kind of know what you're going to do with water and sewer? I think they would be helpful.
Okay, Mike Konzerski, 20829 Matson Lane, and my wife Pam and I, we've had this property since 2018. When we bought it, there was one well on it already, and that well is
on here. I just can't read it in here. Here.
It's right here. Or it's right in here. The original well.
Right in
That's
here.
100 gallon a minute well. John Matson drilled it years ago. It's been there for a long time. Since then, we drilled another well, right here. And that one too is 100 gallon a minute well. And so there's quite good water there. As far as I've got Renner Engineering out of Rapid City designing the water system for me. So that's kind of where we stand with the water. The intent is to service the 12 lots with the 2 wells. So, and of course I already have the water system there now. So part of it's already set up with the shared well agreement. So the remaining 6 lots that don't have water, we will set up another shared well agreement out of the new well that we just drilled. Is the intent. As far as the roads go, they're all designed per your county specs. This piece of road here is the way I have that on the plat. That'll be the emergency fire exit road. The main road will come through here on out to Matson Lane. Matson Lane, when I got that original conditional use permit for the wedding venue, we were required to rebuild Matson Lane. So we rebuilt it at that time. So it does meet your specifications. And then we have rebuilt it again since then. So we've rebuilt it twice. So it's up to spec. Everything else we build will be up to spec as well.
And when I did a preliminary review of the plan, so he's already further along because he had already built the roads basically. I didn't see anything. We have sent him to John. So I would assume by the next meeting if he has any concerns. But we pretty much have as-builts for him already. So John has those. But I don't think he planned on giving anything until we have the preliminary plat. John Bay. Yep. I do know that there was this in here from Dave Heck. There was a little bit of some St. John's wort, and that's all it says is found on the property.
Yeah, then we'll have a plan
So-
put together by the next time we meet.
Okay.
We've already got the chemical bought, and we'll get started on that.
And then you can just talk to Dave Heck about that. He's sitting right behind you.
Okay.
And he can kind of just make sure that you stay on top of it with him, and then he'll let you know if there's anything specific that you need to work on.
Very good.
So that was the only thing with this one.
Looks good to me. Okay, we need an
So-
approval or denial on this one?
Well, it's just layout, so you can approve the layout and then he'll move forward. Is he going the right route? I think his question was, are you comfortable with the route he's going with the shared water? Working on that with the engineer. Roads we're kind of already there on those. Any other concerns?
It's refreshing to have 100-gallon middle well.
Yeah. Yep. Two of them.
No,
How deep were you?
280 feet.
really.
The
Mhm.
deadwood sand is where the water is.
Storage tanks there also, or just?
I don't believe they'll be necessary. The engineer's working on that.
So we need an approval or denial on this one?
Yep, we usually just do an approval if that's what you want to do, and then he'll move forward.
Approval. Second. TJ. Okay, discussion,
Thank you.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Thick
All right, motion carries.
engineering stuff.
Yeah, we'll take a quick
Need a
break here.
recess?
You need a drink of water.
Yeah, I do.
There's a cup here, Travis. I've got a bottle of water. I've got a bottle of water.
Yeah, sure.
I put this with the wrong one.
I'll do it myself. I have a beer and
Whiskey you're drinking?
No, just water. We keep it back here so I don't spill over.
Can you get a pulp?
Recorder's working.
This is his, right?
Yeah.
This is that. Yeah, we don't usually have this much data at a layout plan
No,
phase.
and we don't need it ever again for time.
I won't reprint it if we don't have to, because that costs us a lot of money to reprint 200 and some pages.
It's overnight.
Yeah. Okay. Make a note of that. Actually, Amy probably just heard me. Don't reprint. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
at
She
it's
said got it.
yeah, Matson's, Troy Schulte's, like all of that stretch in there. They were hoping to keep it, but
It's been a busy area. When that will settle down.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
yep, thanks, Mike. Okay. Why is this?
Amber, next time, can you do this on single-sided?
No. You can pull it up online if you want.
That's okay.
Then it'd have been 400
I
pages.
know.
Sorry.
Amy said no, stop it.
She said no.
She said no. Amy does it. It's all Amy's fault. She
That was
just-
mine.
And blow up the text so I can read it, so it's probably up to 800 pages now.
You want to know what's really funny? Is Mike sent it like 4 times, and finally I said, "Just tell us which page needs to be reprinted, because I don't want to print all of it again." So the last couple of times, that's what he did. He's like, "Just reprint," because like he had to adjust like the, I don't
Header
know,
or something.
something on it, and she's like, "Would you quit?" I
And
think
he
we-
also said it's actually 512 pages.
Oh, 512
Well, I need to
pages.
load up too, so I can.
This is some kind of fancy one.
It is fancy water.
It's yummy water. I'm
That's
picky
foo-foo
about
water.
water.
All right.
I feel like the guy on the airplane that gets sat next to the guy that coughs all the trip.
I was actually sick last week. I feel pretty good now, other than this cough in my voice.
And from what I've seen with other people, you can have it for a while.
Yeah, this thing, it goes.
What did I?
people were
I had
having
it
months.
From like Christmas until
Christmas
last week.
until like
Yeah.
February.
Huh.
It was miserable.
Yeah. Right when you start feeling well, they would all of a sudden hit them again.
It made its way through our
Oh,
office.
good
too.
news for you.
It ain't even be the healthy thing there.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, we are at the amended preliminary for Black Hills property.
Oh, that's why I was confused. All right, so we did an amended preliminary on this one. How we've been doing those now is when it's an amendment to a preliminary that you've already approved, we have them do just those stuff that's changing in red. So you can actually see like this upper area is where the changes were there. And then in red up here is the ones that are actually changing. That does help decipher the differences. So you're really just looking at these upper lots. The rest of it is staying the same. Density wise, it meets, what was planned out there. So there's no issues with that. There was, is this the one that, yeah, this is the one that we just found out about, right? I think this was my email. Let me double check. No, I took it off there. I believe this engineer is changing in this a little bit, so we might be seeing some differences in the write-ups. Because we usually get a write-up from AE2S, but we have a change in engineers going on in there. So I think there was a little bit of change to some of this write-up in here. For the most part, it hasn't changed much. I just think we're going to see that change a little bit. Letter of credits are in place. Memorandum of agreements are in place. I think they're still working on their weed stuff, as far as I know. Anything on there right there? They've been working on it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's been some contact there. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing new, I guess.
This one we need to approve or deny the amended preliminary plat.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Final plat for Soup Store.
All right. This one, we had seen the preliminary, so you guys have already approved the preliminary. And at the time, there was some fire plan mitigation stuff that needed to be done. We got the letter for that. And I would assume if you have questions, Rob's here. But if not, they're just trying to get the final plat, and it matches the preliminary that was submitted. This was the one that, if you remember, they ended up buying some acreage, and they're doing a lot line change between the two neighbors. And they had a little, like a guest house kind of little building. So they decided to put that on its own lot so that it kind of fixed all of that at one time. And then working with the neighbor too. So in the end, it worked out. They got it all figured out, got the fire plan done. So it matches what you guys had approved.
Move to approve the final.
Second.
All right, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries.
All right.
Was that second? You?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
I'm struggling with those two today.
And there was no invasive species on the property either. That doesn't happen very often.
work session for future land use map.
Hold on here a minute. Gotta organize myself. All right, so since the last meeting, I did get back some comments from, I guess, Eric and Tim and Rick on kind of just some, comments on it. So we can either go through those individually if you want. I think overall, I have some stuff to share too, but I wanted to kind of see what you guys thought after you've had a chance to look at those. I'm trying to pull them up here. Too many different folders. Comprehensive plan, future land use.
You always move to if your screen's bigger.
Yep. It cracked me up. This is what I got from Tisdale. So I did go in and put them in your actual format because that's what I got was handwritten. And then Eric had some additional, he went through, did kind of a red line, version of it. So there's this one. And then this one was the one that Tim already had his comments in here. And what I tried to do, these ones that say Amber vote and then RT are Rick's comments from his handwritten document. So that's kind of what I did. So it's up to you guys if you just want to go through this, or do you want me to preface it with where my thoughts are at? What would you like me to do? Because I think we have to have another discussion that kind of goes along with this.
I think we should just go ahead and preface it with yours so we can do the whole thing
Okay.
comprehensively.
Is that fair? Okay. So I've spent some time looking at stuff. Bruce and I spent quite a bit of time this morning reviewing some stuff. I think what I'm coming down to, like the wording, it really doesn't bother me one way or another. It's not the context of the wording. I think the issue is we kind of lost focus to what the point of this document was, and maybe also how to tie it in. I feel like some people think that this is a separate standalone document, forgetting that it's just a chapter of our existing comprehensive plan. So this is an amendment to the comprehensive plan. So it's going to get inserted into the rest of the text. So I think maybe a little bit of what has maybe happened is some of the wording and the way the edits were made, I feel like it no longer fits with our comprehensive plan. Is that maybe the best way to explain it? It doesn't go together anymore. So then I started looking at some different things, and I brought them just to show you some examples so you can maybe see where I'm going. My next question is budget season is coming into cycle. We have to have a budget done in June for the following year. I don't know where to go to do this properly. I do think we need a professional person to help put everything together. It might be that the comp plan needs to be looked at. It might be that we just need some help on just this section. There's a lot of different ways that this can go. But the more I look at it, I do think the best would be to have a professional person be involved in this process again. Doesn't have to be the same person. We can look at different options, but that goes to the budget amount. I have no budget for it for this year.
I'd be totally opposed to using the SE.
That's why I said it's okay to go with somebody else. There's a lot of different groups out there. So I wanted to show you two that Bruce and I both looked at. We felt that they were done pretty well and there's different concepts of it. So it kind of, we can go either way, but I do think that the county in general is growing enough that I think we need to take it seriously, that we really probably need to look at that bigger picture. Long range planning, a different aspect. That's different than just the future land use. There's a lot more involved in that. So examples. I have 3 different ones. They're all similar, different areas. This is just like a corridor plan. So it kind of, we've done a couple corridor plans. We looked at those. It's very consistent with what we've done. But I pulled up Pennington counties, and I also pulled up a more current one for Minnehaha County. Theirs is a lot newer. Pennington counties was adopted in 2020. They started it in 2017. Took about 4 years to get into place. Very comprehensive, much different than what we got. And I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. It's the way the county commissioners decided to budget at the time. That's what happened. But it's very different than what I think you see with our comprehensive plan now. And it ties in that future land use. And I think it would help explain when you see it in the context like this of what the goal would be someday, but I have to have a much larger budget than 10,000 or even 30,000, which is what we paid to Black Hills Council of Local Government 5 years ago. I did get a quote back just to give you context. It's a lot. Pennington County got back to me. I have not heard back from Minnehaha County yet. Pennington County in 2017 paid $135,000 for this document. It's a very, very comprehensive. It's a very good document. But that just gives you in context what something like this can really cost. Overall, I think we are at the point in our county we probably need something like this. I think it would help in a lot of concept. I don't think we maybe need exactly what it is, but to give you a general context, I'm going to bet this 2045 plan that Minnehaha County did, looking at it, I'm going to bet you're looking probably that or higher. So to give you some context, this was Pennington County's. Lots of pretty pictures. But if you just look at and this is Matrix, it was Matrix Group. It's a firm. This one is very detailed. This just gives you a general, lot of different stuff in here. Vision statement, focus area, very similar to what we have, but this is just a lot more detail. The part that I really liked, and I think this will explain, let me get to it. This takes a while. Getting close. They have lots of maps and stuff in here, but I want to show you this one. So this, I think, is ultimately what you guys are wanting, but it's obviously not what we got. And I don't think the changes that we're seeing with what you're writing is getting us there either. So how these guys did it, it's very, it's a blueprint. It's not ordinance. And I think some of the sections that I'm seeing that are getting rewritten are more ordinance and not comprehensive plan. It's the opposite. But this one, they have each section is the land use designation on their future land use map. They have what it means, your designation, the code and color, the description, maximum density, minimum lot size. So they kind of set that up at the very beginning of like, hey, this is what it means. And then when you go down into it, it talks about future land use amendments, your zoning ordinance and consistency, what you're supposed to do with it. And then here's, I think, what I liked this. I think it's more of what I'm kind of hearing when we talk. This is the color associated with the future land use map. So here's here's your ag designation. Here's the compatible zoning. Here's the purpose. This is not their full list out of their zoning ordinance. It's a very generic, like, here's the things that are in the list, kind of. It's a generic update. And then here's their density. And then this color directly associates with the future land use map. And each of these, so here's your ag designation, residential designations, and then they have all their kind of residential area, low density, suburban residential, urban residential. Those are all in there. Plan unit development, and then there's commercial, the same thing, like here's your commercial designation, and a real quick what it is, and just very general uses. It's not their entire list, it's very generalized. And then I'm not going to go through all this, but just to give you, they have a lot of it. And then they have kind of an overview, and they have different areas, and they're just real short and sweet, real like what we want to see. And then if you keep going, there's goals and policies, which is similar to what we got out of SE group, but I feel like we're missing kind of that whole first section. And then if you keep going, there's a map in here. There's their future land use map. Very similar to what we have. They have their coloring, what they are, but I think it helps because these coloring designations match up with the text above. Does that make sense? So you kind of have, I think it helps explain the map is probably the best way.
Back up to the table.
To the colored table?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what Emma's going to go to. I think it's kind of what you're working on now. Can you go up to the top one? Oh, there it is. So
this is all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the purpose and application. So that definition there, it doesn't necessarily, from what we can tell, match what their zoning ordinance definition of what industrial is, but it's sort of giving you, defining generally what the area is, right? And I think when I've been talking to people, they were concerned that if you didn't have an exhaustive list of the allowed uses, that somebody might use it as a sword or a shield, depending in the future. So if we didn't have, I don't know, I'll just say mining listed in an area, someone would come in and say, well, mining isn't in your future land use plan, right? So you can't do that there. But I think this document, in some places, it refers us back to the full list that's contained in the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, at the very beginning.
And the other example that Amber has will also have language that says that this is not an exhaustive list. It's meant to be a representative list, kind of what historically has happened. So, I mean, does that make sense to everybody? I think that's kind of what you've been working on, is just trying to define or list all these possibilities there. And maybe that gets a bit exhaustive, and this is a much sort of simpler way to kind of do it. And I guess what I would say too is, Amber cited these examples from Minnehaha and from Pennington County. So they're tried and true methods too, I would think. And so it seems like it's a good way to sort of proceed and maybe help streamline kind of what you're trying to do, if that makes sense.
And I thought that the reason why I picked those two, one, they're counties. There's a lot of cities that have future land use maps, but they're a totally different animal than what we deal with. So I tried to find some good counties, especially where this one was approved and has been working since 2020. So it's about 5 years in. And then the Minnehaha County one is a little bit newer. So it's different concepts because Minnehaha County, I think Pennington County is similar to us on how they look at their zoning districts and things like that. Minnehaha County has a much higher working relationship with the city of Sioux Falls and some of those areas just because they're growing so much. So this is one example, but I think this helps explain what we ultimately need to get to is my thought. It's not cheap. I don't think this is something that we should handle on our own. I think you need that outside source, but I think we need to look at a source that fits what we want. So we're getting what we want out of it. And then the Minnehaha County one, again, I really liked it. It's much newer. I kind of like this one because it's maybe not quite as detailed, but I understand the concept of the other one too. It's just, we would have to decide. But this one, they have a similar, chapter 1, they kind of have a similar layout. And then when you get to this one, they have a lot of maps and figures attached to it. And there's some very this is a very generic kind of what this plan entails. And then I'm going to go to the right page.
And this is a full comprehensive.
This is a full comprehensive plan. So I was just looking at it because that's what I think is getting missed, is that our future land use map, and a lot of people just didn't understand that it wasn't replacing the comp plan. It was going to literally be another chapter. I was going to insert it into it. But when we get to this one,
And I think one would
Go
have
ahead,
to be careful about defining things in the future land use map differently than what's in the zoning ordinance to create potential conflicts, right? And I mean, there are things to sort of troubleshoot. And Amber will show you this other
I'm getting
example,
close.
which is good.
They do have an existing land use analysis in here, which we have a very shortened version of it. This is a lot more in depth. It should be coming up here. They have a growth management section.
If you ever want to see something, go to City of Sioux Falls' plan. That is unbelievable. I mean, it was detailed and nuanced, and that's really something, but obviously much beyond what we need here. But if you want to look at something interesting, it certainly is.
I'm getting close.
It wasn't in that corridor one, was it?
No, nope. It's just towards. There was just a lot in here. Transportation. So you can see they have a lot of sections in there. I mean, it's very detailed.
There you go. Future land.
Oh, there we go. I passed it. So their future land use section, it starts out with just a very basic introduction, what it is, how the county is set up, what their plan is. Things have happened and changed. And then they have their map. Now, I think I couldn't get it to work, but I think this map is probably I want to say there was probably a link here, but I couldn't get it to work. So that was one of my questions to Minnehaha County, because you can tell the map's cut off. So I'm thinking it was like a linked to a site somewhere, but I couldn't get it to work. But then when you go in here, this is what I really liked is they call out on their map, they have an ag production area. Very basic what it is, not a definition, but just a introduction, the development outlook, what the purpose is, and then a very typical use. It wasn't an exhaustive list. It was, these are the types of things that we're going to see in this ag production area. And then it went into, there's different stuff in here.
What caught my eye was, for example, sand, gravel, and stone and mining, right? Easy. It's in, it's out. Hey, you're on notice. That's been done in the past.
But then
right?
they would probably have tree production or something like that.
Yeah, we would have different wording,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah,
but
part.
I liked, so like this is the snapshot of the area that matches up to their map. It's the ag production area. And then you keep going and they have a transition area. And this is where they're talking about, okay, we're transitioning from that ag stuff into more, recreational uses, government uses, new and existing rural residential uses, single family. They kind of have their typical uses, and then they have a write-up about what it is. And then they have their rural service area. This one I thought was a little bit different because they're talking more about because they have so many townships that have little pockets of, community strip mall type. So that's what I kind of, now we don't have as much of that, but we do have St. Ange and the Nemo area. That could be like I don't know, something, but that's what this was, is it was more their townships from what I could tell. And then they have communities, same thing. They call out specific communities, Wall Lake, Ellis, Renner, all these little areas around there. And then they have development corridors was one of their sections of their future land use map. So this is where I think you would tie in like the Highway 85 corridor plan, all of those plans where we've looked at specific corridors. That's kind of what they're talking about here. Or areas that we've deemed are going to be a development corridor, like Highway 85 or Exit 17 or whatever. And then they go into the future land use goals and actions. And that's what we got from SE Group. But I feel like the upper part is what we didn't really get out of those two documents that I just showed you. So I wanted to show you two different concepts though, because one is like the color coordinated mapping, but Bruce and I both kind of liked this one where it's a little more contextual, and I think we could take text. I don't know. Because the other one, I feel like it could get it's too much like a zoning map with the other way. is my thought. I don't know. I liked it. If we did it, we'd have to be very careful with it. And then what if something changes? You know, because it's going to, it's a future land use map. I thought this one was a little better on not being quite as specific, but still showing the different uses. So we would have different
Kind of like an
headings,
amoeba, it grows as the
different headings,
sound
obviously.
grows.
But I think it kind of captures what I think we heard what your objective was here, right? And so that was the idea, is to try to, like, refocus things, and if we can accept that those are good models, sort of build from there, right? And maybe that's not the right answer, but I'm just trying to, like, show how it looks like what's been done sort of in the real world. We're kind of like moving towards something, and this is an example of what it looks like that people have adopted. So.
And this is also what I'm trying to show, is the goal was to literally insert a chapter into our existing comp plan. Well, when you start looking at it, the comp plan is fine as it is. It's what the commission asked for at the time. Do we need to have that bigger discussion? And it's going to be a process. I mean, most of these are 4 to 5 years, but budgeting wise, you can budget for that if we know that's really the goal. But I never got the feeling, at least when we did that very minimal $30,000 comp plan from Black Hills Council of Local Government, that's not what the commission wanted at the time. They wanted a minimal, let's get it back to the drawing board. And then now we're to this, which was 10,000. I just don't know where to go with it. That's really what I mean. Ultimately, I don't have a budget for it. So is that the discussion we need to be having? I don't know.
I think that as you get into these processes and the time they take to develop, when they're finished, you're more or less out of date again. And I see that we need to do a program to where it's a continuous putting new stuff forward and pulling the old stuff out.
And I would say we're
Without
doing
growth
that now.
we're having.
I think we're actually doing that
I
comparative to when I started.
Yeah.
I mean, when I started, we had one document that was 1990, 90, that first one,
1998, January,
and nothing had been touched until 2005. And then now I think because we've added in the corridor plans and the things that we never had any of that stuff until more recently.
I just think it's going to be an ongoing.
Oh, it will be.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell us where we've been hurt by not having this.
The future land use plan would help tremendously when people are coming in to ask me where do I go and what do I do? We are seeing growth now. It's not just growth from the people that live here. It's people coming to us. And I have nothing to tell them.
Leave.
I can't do that.
That's why I like the text version the best, because I think where we got so sidetracked was on trying to do a figure that tried to identify all the potential land uses in the area.
Yes.
And that's where it gets confusing. So I think if you look at something that's more of a text description.
And they still have a map, but they backed off the amount of, it was, you have ag and you have, they kind of went backwards and said, we have some general boundary areas instead of having so many, because the zoning districts in all of these, in both ones,
I mean, I read
the
that
zoning
as like
districts
a
apply.
zoned area. So when they talk about their little communities within the communities, so I'll just say Brandon Valley's got its strip mall area. Whatever other little community is a part of the bigger picture of Sioux Falls has their residential area. So it's like an amoeba that's ever changing based on as the communities are growing.
Mm-hmm.
But yet the text doesn't change, just the location.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
If I may, I think part of your objective, at least in part, was to put people on notice of what uses could be or what historically have been, right? And so, for example, that in the language we saw, it said typical uses.
Yep.
In some areas, you could say, well, typical uses have been, whether you know it or not, have been gold mining, gravel mining, or
forestry.
And the one from Pennington County it seemed like they did a nice job of kind of describing.
Well, I'm sure because they probably have Pete Lean involved in on it.
Yeah.
Going, look, we got gravel operations all over Pennington.
They expressed it very simply to just,
Yeah.
you know, put people on notice. Hey, the resource development. I think
Yeah, I
is
think
how
that's what it said,
that's
is
how they
resource
said it.
development.
Typical uses,
Mhm.
resource development. There it is, right?
Yeah.
And boom, you're done. You don't have to spend a lot of time going through all this stuff, right? Yeah. No special areas. Just yeah. It seems like
I think the text is what you need, just the general.
Yeah.
Yep, here it is, ever changing. It's going to change as the county changes.
Yeah.
As the county continues to grow, as more people come in, you know, your residential areas need to expand, whether some people like it or not. The residential areas need to expand to account for the people coming in. And then the people coming in need to understand, in order for that growth to happen, there's other things that need to happen within the county.
Well, I think the difference too, like when I looked at Minnehaha County, obviously their ag production area is much around that
Right.
area is different than ours.
It's different than what it is in the Black Hills.
Yeah, so I think we would maybe have, whether you combine those or you have two separate, you know, headings, I don't know what you want to call it, your ag production area and other, I don't know, you'd have to come up with some sort of different heading. But I think the concept or the layout of this one, I think, is more in line with maybe where you were trying to go. So it wasn't so much like having an entire paragraph. Maybe not. I don't know. And that's where I think Bruce and I are to the point of, I'm seeing what you guys are saying, but the concept of what was supposed to happen is kind of getting lost, I think, in all of that.
Heading down a bunny trail.
Yeah, so
do we need to be more general? Is that what you're?
I think
so we're
what-
not locking ourselves into some text. Yeah. Come back.
Yes. And that's where I liked these two as examples. And we thought at least showing you the examples would give you a little bit better of, we're not creating a policy document. We're not creating rules. We're just creating hey, this is what we have going on, and this is a guide.
Craig to do is create a policy.
That's kind of, yeah, kind of, yeah.
I think it's
more
more
of
of a
a
guide.
their favorite word in there.
Yeah, so I think one of two things, and this is really where I don't know where to go from here, is I can work on this. It's not that. But this is something that if we go down this route, trying to fit all of our pieces together and make it look like a cohesive document, we need to start over. Like, we need to start over to do it. But I do think it is best for our funds and for budgeting purposes to hire an outside source. I don't think sorry to say, I've been here 20 years. Everything we've done has been in-house. And you can tell. Sorry to say, but not that we haven't done a good job at it. I think we've done very well. We've done a lot of stuff, but I think we're at a point in the county that we really just need a fresh look at it from someone that does this type of work.
Amber, did you have that? There's an example of a section that we found, maybe it was Pennington County, that we thought was fairly interesting that we don't have that might be helpful. Was what did it have to do to future? I can't remember. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we had looked at it already.
Did you? For an example of something that we're missing. Well, arguably.
Hold on. I don't remember if it was.
We thought you might like it to help you try to make land use decisions. I think it was something to do with that.
Yes. I think it was at the end. Implementation.
So I don't want to distract us.
Well,
I was talking to Rich Williams.
This one's Minnehaha.
Yeah, this one's Minnehaha. So this was one section when I was looking at it, there was stuff in here that it's like, this is what a zoning ordinance is supposed to be used for. This is what these corridor studies should be used for. That's at the very end of one of these.
So, like, for example, when I was talking to Rich Williams, he was asking me, his concern was, well, if you don't get really specific, that someone might come back and use it against you, right? Use your future land use map against your zoning ordinance. And I couldn't really comment at the time, but now we see these examples. I kind of think they speak for themselves. They show how it works. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That they're, as far as we know, they're being used successfully, or else people would have taken them out of their books, right? So the fear of that, I think, is we've learned it's not there.
Right, and that's why I think it's more important to have the text describing it than a line on a map describing it, because that line on the map's gonna change year by year, where the text kind of develops as the counties develop.
And we probably would always have a map, but the map is sort of, it doesn't like match. I don't think that their maps match their zoning areas. It's just sort of, it's representative, right?
The map is just an appendix that could be updated.
Yeah.
But Pennington counties is more zoning oriented, and Minnehaha counties is more like, no, this is some generalities.
Kind of an
So there
overlay.
is, that's why I showed you the two examples. But I think if you're going to go the route of Pennington County, we don't have the staffing or the processing like Pennington County does. I mean, they have a very different office makeup of their offices. They have their whole entire sewer water department, and they have way more than we have. So I understand how theirs is, where I feel like Minnehaha counties is something, their model is more what would work for us. That was kind of the two things put together.
3M or
No, Matrix was this one. I was waiting to hear back because there is no emblem on the document I was able to find for this one. Well, no, there was. It just says Minnehaha County on the end. So I reached out to the planning person, and I hadn't heard back from them before the meeting. I was hoping to. So I'm not really sure who worked on, and this, I don't even know if this one's actually adopted yet. They might still be in the process, is what I'm wondering. So I'm not sure on this one, but I liked the format of it.
So what's the end game here that you're hoping to see? You spent $30,000 on the comp plan.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're talking about spending 4 times that on a chapter that goes to the comp plan.
No, it'd be an entire comp plan review.
So you want to do the whole comp plan and include this as part?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was our current comp plan approved? Was that 19?
No,
It's a 2030 comp plan, which is usually 10 years, and we're 5 year, 2025. It was 2022, I think, but we started it in 2019. It took about 2 years to get it done, and that was a hassle in itself. They didn't do, well, I'll just show it to you.
We've had significant changes in the county in the last 5 years.
Mhm.
Is the current comp plan still relevant, or is it outdated?
I don't think it's outdated because there's not much information in it. They took out a lot of the meat and potatoes.
So it's just not as useful.
Yes.
So I guess, is it accomplishing our goals of what a comprehensive plan should accomplish?
I don't think so.
According to HCR 6010, no.
Mm-hmm.
House concurrent resolution.
Would you care to read us the text of that, Bruce?
I'm sorry.
So we approved it December 8th of 20. It was approved December 8th of 2020. So just so you know, it's been 5 years. It was adopted December 8th of 2020. And it's been 5 years. And in theory, in our plan, it says every 5 years should we be looking at a review. Well, we're there. And I know it seems like, man, we just got done with it, but it's been 5 years. So here's, I think the text of this document is fine. It's just, you'll see by looking at it. I mean, I'm showing it to you. A lot of this is the same wording that you see in the other ones. It's the planning history is fine. Like this first part.
Future land use section.
Well, it's your this part, objectives of the plan update. This part is fine. I mean, this first 10 pages is probably fine. But where I think we lose it is obviously this has changed again. Your graphs are going to be different. Your economy is probably kind of the same, but I'm sure there's some updates in there. And then this section here is really where, to me, we lost our comp plan. You know, these sections are all correct, but then what do we do with these sections? That's the part that it's the meat and potato part, like the mapping, the where we're going to go from here, the goals and objectives, you know.
Yeah, like the Dune project now, it should just be the South Coast Science and Technology Authority and what's going on up there.
So if you, and I'm just, yeah, I'm showing you this because a lot of people said, oh, we put all this money. No, this is all good information and it was updated. But the part that I feel like we're missing, if you go back to, we're going to use this one. You know, so if you kind of keep that in mind, introduction, population, existing land uses, we have all that. It's this one, your growth management, whether you want to call it environmental stewardship, whatever, some of this stuff, the rural conservation, which is kind of that farming, you know, that sort of section. And then transportation. This is like ideally the highway transportation plan that John's been working on with the South Dakota DOT. Ideally, that would be here. I don't think they're done with it yet, as far as I know. But, you know, ideally, that's what this is that transportation plan. And then here's the future land use, which we don't have that section at all. And then your implementation. So really, to me, we could utilize what we have and have someone come in.
Are they willing to do that?
I think you could if you put a RFP out there saying we have this that we did in 2020. We want to implement using a lot of this information, but we need it updated for the, you know, the context of the numbers, like from the census and all that stuff. We need that. Plus we need to add in these sections that we didn't do last time.
So they're blueprint.
I think it's there. Yeah, it's there. It's just we're missing the detail.
See, we let SC Spearfish did, well, we kind of did too. But I mean, start from scratch.
Yeah.
And they came out with all their creativity and beautifulness.
Jumbo.
Yeah. And if we
I think if we had our RFP specify what we wanted, I think it's doable. I have no idea what that's going to cost. And that's where I'm at is I can go try to get some of those costs, but I didn't want to do that or ask questions unless I knew that's what the board wanted me, because budget is coming in June.
Sure. Right. I mean, I think that's up to the.
It's up to the commission on,
decide,
you know,
but
budget's
I think
going to be a big thing.
Present a program budgeting over the next 2 to 3 years or whatever, X number of dollars to update the comprehensive plan, then that can get into the budget and can be tracked.
Well, and I think it kind of ties into all of this in our current comp plan. It says we should be reviewing the comp plan every 5 years. Well, we're there. So I think we're reviewing it and we're saying, well, we think we need some more information on these specific areas. And then I think we put that together. We would then take that to the county commission and say, do you want to include me going out and getting an RFP to get an idea of what this is going to cost over 2 years, 3 years, whatever.
Even you're saying that every 5 years we should be looking at that. Once we get it done, we should just be starting to redo that every year, do parts of it every year. So then it's not one big cost over 1 or 2 years. It's a equal cost over 5 years. So we're going to be looking at updating this part this year, this part next year. By the 5th year, everything's been updated and we're going to
I can tell you what this is this is long range planning.
Yeah.
The county has never done long range planning. And that's where we're at, is we need that long range planning. So anyways, this is the bigger discussion that I've been trying to get to, but I felt like I needed to have you guys look at the document so you can kind of see. And then I think when Bruce and I were able to sit down and go through these, and I think we kind of figured out where we think you want to be, but to get there, it's not going to be doing what we're doing. Is that fair?
You've convinced me.
Yeah, I agree.
If I may, you can add the future land use stuff in. I mean, that could be a component part of it.
Yep.
But now, as Amber's described, there's maybe much bigger project would be better.
And I don't think any work that we've done is not stuff that we can still put in a format and give to somebody and say, okay, we have our existing comp plan, we have our edited text that our board has already looked at, and these are kind of our concepts that we want. Can you now meld the two together to get that future land use map? And maybe some of I liked this growth management section, and I liked this conservation and this steward. I think we could use pieces throughout. I don't think we have the same problems that East River has, so I think the text would be different.
There's that different problem.
But I liked the concept of this plan, but I am waiting to hear. I was just curious, who did they use? How much did it cost them? But I also, reading this Envision 2045 document, I liked how it was written, I guess, is maybe the writing was more layman's terms. It didn't feel like it was so much this like frilly stuff.
How long would it take you to put together a cost proposal?
Well, I was hoping if I can hear back from Minnehaha, I'm waiting to hear back from him, and I'm sure he can share with me, hey, this is who we hired, and this is what it cost us. Sometimes some of these agencies, I can just reach out to them and say, hey, this is what we have going on. Would you be willing to just give me an estimate of what you think this would cost without even an RFP? A lot of times they will.
And you know what I like about that? It's taking the burden off of the planning and zoning and county commissioners writing the plan. These are people that specialize in this and have done this in other places. So when somebody comes into question anything that's gone into the comprehensive plan, well, professional people did this.
Well, and I think too, it helps, like
It's their specialty.
And I can tell you from my perspective, I felt totally out of the water getting thrown into these public meetings with even these amendments. It wasn't my forte. I shouldn't have been there, but we didn't know that it was going to work out the way it did. And we had to just deal with it. But I can tell you that the meetings would be done a lot differently if you have a person that actually does that for a living, getting information from people. It would be better. So with that, where do you want to go? And then when I was looking at your guys' edits, like I think you're kind of doing it so like your headings, tourism, recreations, challenges, like all of these things I think are good. I mean, that is what we're trying to do. And I think a lot of this stuff, if we were able to give this to a consultant, they'd be like, oh, okay, that, like, now we know where they're going with it. So I don't think the work that we've done is by the wayside. It just took us a while to get to this point.
We're just getting a little outside of our scope.
I feel like it a little bit. But I think I was reading through this, and I think overall we have pretty good context here. But now you just need someone that this is what they do to kind of bring it all together.
Ultimately, we want to have a high quality document that everybody in the county can look at and understand the direction that we're trying to go. And
that's the goal, yeah.
And so we just need to think about how best to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably redoing the whole comprehensive plan to be the best way.
So do you think at this point, do you want me to just ask those questions? I mean, like I said, Matrix, Pennington County got back to me. They told me what it was going to cost and what they did. I'm waiting to hear back from Sioux Falls or from Minnehaha County. Because I just wanted to see. So 135,000, that's a lot. And she even said that it was a lot, but look at their document versus the other one. It's two totally different types of documents. And then we can see what he says. The other question we had for Minnehaha County was, we were just curious on that because they had such shortened, like this is what the typical use is. Have they had any problems?
I was trying,
as it was being implemented, right?
I was trying to pose sort of like what Rich Williams' question to me was, how are these things used against you? And to try to get kind of an example. And I'm sure that there's a way it works out just fine, right? But I can't tell you if they've ever had any experience with that, or if it's written so generally, or the way that it's crafted that it just works perfectly. Makes sense.
It's a guideline. It's guidance.
Yeah.
Well, it should be general, because people come in and ask for variances all the time, so it shouldn't have anything set in stone, it's just a guideline.
It's not an ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay,
Move on.
what do you want to do?
I want you to get ideas.
Get some pricing idea? I mean, because I just don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you're right in line starting, probably gonna be a minimum of $150,000. It is to do anything anymore.
But over 5 years, that's not terrible.
Yeah, it's not.
It is if we have to do it every 5 years.
My experience.
And I don't think you have to do it every 5 years, but
What would be wrong with making it into something that,
I would hope that after it's done, it won't have to.
you know, it was done and it was good enough that we could, you know, go in and tweak it a little bit every 2 or 3 years.
well, I think what I've noticed in some communities, what they'll do is like once a year they just have it in their stuff of like when the census comes out, they automatically go in and do a new, like, because there's always a census thing there. Let's update our numbers, our estimates of where we need for growth. They do that, and they do that every year, or you know, whenever there's a census, they do that. I think that's some of the stuff that could just be part of, just like I do now. Hey, we're going to look at ordinances. What do we need to change? It can be on the
It's an
list.
annual maintenance.
We need to look at it every year,
I feel like
and that can be done in house then.
once we get a good foundation of a guideline, it would be fairly easy to look at it and update it.
Review it after every monthly meeting, and what did we do in this meeting? And should that, how will that, those things, those decisions affect our comp
Right.
plan? And
I mean, there's no
make a
reason,
note
like Mike
for-
was saying, it shouldn't be a kind of a living document.
Yeah.
And also, I think it needs to be a shift in the thought process of the planning commission, my staff, county commission. Most agencies, when you look at their staff reports, have a direct correlation between where it's at in the comp plan. How does it work? I have not been doing that because I have no, if I look at the comp plan, there's really no, like, there's no projections for future land use. There's no projections for where the, you know, growth is going. There's nothing to refer it to. And I was looking at like City of Spearfish even, but Minnehaha, I was looking at some of their staff reports, and it was really interesting because they had an entire section that was just for the boards to use on how it directly correlates with the comp plan. And we don't get to do that now because we don't have we don't have that.
So would it be advantageous maybe to bring in some IT people that we have on staff to get their ideas as to what could be integrated yearly, like you said, so they'd be involved in this?
They have no involvement now at all. They don't do any of this. I do it all myself. Our IT department has nothing to do with changes or nothing.
I was going to say, my experience with these planning outfits, I guess, hasn't been great. I think in 1998 was Gorgas Kyrgyz from Denver or wherever they were. They did the second comp plan the county had. So the first one was like 74. When I came in January of 98, by December they adopted. They had been studying it for quite a while. But for example, I think they paid a lot of money, relatively speaking, for the time. That document that we got, that comp plan, still had references to Larimore County in it. I mean, it wasn't even proofread very well. And you know, that was the document that was in place for a period of time. And then I think Brandon undertook some in-house wholesale changes, you know, did the best he could. And then, you know, essentially it's been in-house, I think, more or less that whole time until most recently when Black Hills Council did it. I won't throw any shade on them, but the ambitiousness of their document is something quite different than what we're looking at with these examples, right? And so again, I don't know, you get what you pay for, but for the first time, maybe in quite a while, we can like vet some of these people. We can look at what the end result is meant to look like,
Right.
and not just like be surprised when we get it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, you just showed 2 examples there. Here are end products. And this is what we would like ours to look like. And so you know who can provide that end product.
Yeah, you get a much better idea of what you're going to have and what kind of value you're going to get for your money.
Well, we kind of know what we want.
Yeah.
I mean, to be completely honest, I had no clue. You know, they just, here's what we did. And
Well, and I think too, comparative to the 90s, it was still fairly fresh to see a lot of these like long range. I mean, even then, you didn't see the growth like you see now in a lot of places. So, okay.
That 90s one was a long drawn out affair. Holy buckets. People involved.
I remember being at Lannis's place in the basement, and there were almost fist fights.
Yep.
But Jerry Boyer was leading it. I didn't know everybody then, and I've come to know who was more people who were in the room at the time. But man, that was raucous. There were real life animosities being played out in front of me. I'm a new person. I'm like, what is going on here, right?
Jim, the old county commissioner.
Jim Seward.
Seward. Yeah. One meeting.
You're gonna talk so goddamn much. Come over and sit by me so I can hear you. It's just
okay. I mean, it was just. But it's just it was wild the way that stuff went around there.
It was wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Young,
Okay.
impressionable me didn't know what to make of that. Right?
So from this point, I will try to get some numbers. Do you guys want to continue discussion? Do you want to, where do you want me to just get numbers and go to county commission? Do you want to have input on that? We can do both.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I just don't know where. I'm trying to keep things moving without them just dying, but at the same time, it's a lot of time and effort. If you guys, just so I know where to go.
I think you have a handle on the direction.
Yep.
Okay.
And I don't think we have to prove anything. We just bring it to the commission. Here's what I think we should do to get a decent product.
Do you think it would be helpful to have a recommendation from, because you guys are the future land use map, keep that in mind. You're planning and zoning, but you're also the future land use map group.
Yeah, we can make a recommendation.
Should we make a recommendation from the future land use map that we'd like to see, some ideas on costs of what it would take to kind of start over with this base, not start over, but
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that would be beneficial maybe.
When is your budget hearings?
Well, we usually have to have them. We don't have the dates yet, but it's usually like mid-June, like June 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere in there is usually when they're due.
You're dealing with a compressed time.
Because if not, you're waiting a whole another year to do anything.
But I'm gonna guess Amber can get.
I think I can get a general
good enough
idea
information to budget for it.
I didn't want to deal with that if it was totally out of the water. That was my only concern. So I think as long as we have a recommendation, then when I do go to commission, I can say that, yep, we discussed it with the future land use map group, and this is where we'd like to, after looking at a bunch of stuff. And
So recommend.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
We actually need to.
Aye.
that's fine. We can.
Okay.
It just shows that you're all okay with it. I mean,
It's unanimous, I think.
yeah.
Nobody objected.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do that, and I'll keep you guys posted, obviously, each meeting, just so you kind of know what's going on. But I think at this point, that's where we can go.
Pulling this together and looking at those other two plans and explaining the benefits of those. other
We
plans.
spent some time on it this
finished
morning.
product is much better than anything we've seen. Their finished product.
I liked
is better
both
than
of
anything
them.
we've seen.
Yeah.
And there's a really cool one in Wyoming, but that's totally out of it. Was really cool.
The county's comprehensive plan was a huge step forward in the 1970s. We
Oh, it was.
haven't continued to make those big steps forward.
Well, and
Yeah,
so like in 2005, I was here when Brandon and I started doing that. And really all he did was we just tried to update the census numbers, like the very basic information, and that helped. But then just so much has changed that, your corridors and all your stuff is just different now.
Just falling behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you did, once you get that thing updated, then that maintenance on it's gonna be minimal.
You're not gonna like this, speaking of corridors. There's almost encouragement coming out of the city of Spearfish for those guys on the 85 corridor. DX.
I know.
Really? Okay. I mean,
I'm aware of it.
Flat wide open. Ellen, make a presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all for it because with all your work with the shrinking of everything, they figured out the real realization that we don't need to be out in the county.
No.
This is north of town.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the Highway 85, like basically right by this one that we saw today.
Craig and then Joe were standing there with Jamie.
Jamia.
Jamia.
Is that how you say it's a tough one?
It's an everyday conversation in our office. He's like, I don't know, whatever her name is.
Yeah, the
Jamia.
whole process.
Yes.
On a
I'm
related
aware of
note,
it.
I was contacted by somebody. There's talk of the apartment complex in the middle of nowhere up by McMaster's Corner about that being de-annexed. That
right over here?
yeah,
Oh, really?
north that they've I don't know how much traction we'll get, but I heard a little bit before, and then it's come back again. And
where's it at? I mean, what's the deal? Is it under lawsuit between
yes,
owners?
yeah,
Or contractor?
All of the above.
Owner and designer, I think, wasn't it?
Wow.
All of the above.
I think what I heard is, gosh, would they put like 10, 12 million bucks into the water and sewer up there? And again, I think what I heard is it's all
Undersized.
it's all kaput. I don't know that any of it is salvageable. I mean, again, I'm not the expert, but there are some real challenges to what's going on up there. And so anyway, I don't know what that means. You know, if they de-annex, well, then they go back to what the county zoning. I don't know that county zoning necessarily. I think we don't really have multi-family housing like an apartment complex, right? You know, as one example, and then so how do we resolve that? And they're meant to be city streets, and now all of a sudden are these folks going to have to have a road district? Because I'm pretty sure county commissioners aren't going to want to take on, you know, however many 3 or 4 houses worth of road that whatever was planned up there, right?
So it's the whole development, not just the apartment. Wow.
They don't know. They don't know yet.
Needed.
They don't know yet.
I'm not sure, and I don't know how much traction it'll get. I just kind of throw that out there because,
wow,
yeah.
So does the county have a say in de-annexing more so than annexing?
You know, I've looked
We've
at the
never
statute,
had happened.
but I can't remember. I don't think so.
I don't think we have a say on the city is in control of
Yeah,
that.
I believe that's correct.
On annexing, but, well, can we take it back after something started? Because it would be a non-conforming use for the county.
Well,
Tear down.
I would say what's out there is probably we would have approved it anyway because we have other things out there, but
Not the apartment building though. Probably.
well, not this.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm just thinking 885 north.
Oh yeah.
This thing,
Maybe the problems wouldn't have gotten as far along as they did if it was in the county too.
I think that might be right.
We might have caught it.
Maybe so. We like to think so.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else that was on the agenda that you want to discuss?
Discussion items. Do you have anything for that?
No.
Okay. Opportunity for public comment. No.
Outlasted our public.
yeah.
Next meeting at Thursday, May 1st at 1:30.
Yep.
All right. We are adjourned.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Should we have PJ or Kelly sign the minutes from last month?